Connor, we're up at 28. Who's playing wide receiver?
That's kind of where the issue
for
lies.
this team?
And then there's a big debate, right? Because I like Troy Franklin better than Mitchell. You're just kind of opening a door here.
Okay, you just got your thumbnail, which is Brett's reaction to that particular take.
Yeah. I like Troy Franklin better than Mitchell.
Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. I am Trevor Sikkema. That is Connor Rogers, joining you on a Collab mock draft series episode that I'm excited to get into immediately. But Connor, I got to ask you, first and foremost, how you doing, my friend?
I am good, man. I'm excited for this one. This is the people's mock draft. They've been begging for it. I think we delivered.
This is the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson of Collab mocks that we have here, because these other two very handsome gentlemen that we have on the screen with us, it's the infamous. It is the renowned. It is the dynamic duo of bootleg football themselves. It's EJ Snyder and Brett Kollman. Fellas, how you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining us again. We had so much fun doing the mock draft with you last year. We obviously had to get you back. And like Connor said, by popular demand. So I'm excited to do this here with you.
I'm ready to fight, EJ. Are you ready to fight?
I don't know. Do we have to fight them? Do we get to fight each other more? Like, who do we have to fight? Because I'm ready to fight, but I
Dude, if you say Aeneas Smith at 32, I'm gonna fucking get you.
I gotta say, we're all in a Twitter X DM chat, whatever you want to call it, and there were some names being thrown around for early picks today. Everybody was just egging everybody on. Go ahead, do it. I dare you. Like,
I'm so excited for this mock draft, specifically because I know all the four of us have like our guys. And we're doing a 2-round mock draft here on this show because a first-round mock draft wouldn't have done this collab justice. We got to get into that second round just to see who at the end of the second round is like, all right, I'm throwing this guy in there. It's like whoever
Sure, why
we've
not?
been caping for the last 2 months. And so, but look, that's what the people are going to want. So you guys have watched these collab mock draft videos for a while now. If you watched them last year, if you watched them this year, the series is already going. The drill is Connor and I are going to team up. It's 2v2. And then Brett and EJ are going to team up. We'll alternate odds and evens. EJ and Brett are going to start with the odds because Connor and I did the odds last week. So we're going to alternate here. And look, trades are allowed. It's a what we would do mock draft. So we're putting our own flavor here. But of course, the conversations that we'll have, we'll talk about what we think is going to happen as well. And if you gentlemen are ready, I'm going to fire up the PFF mock draft simulator. I'm getting right into it. And you guys are on the clock with number 1 overall. We taking Aeneas Smith at 1, or are you going to wait till 9?
I'm just wondering at what level he won't swing at me to take Aeneas Smith. So we'll see how far we can push it into the second round. No, I think we're probably all set at 1. I don't think we're going to go super crazy here.
Yeah, because everybody's in agreement. Drake May is QB1, right? No,
of course. Yes, of course.
No, it's Caleb. It has to be Caleb. If anybody says it's not Caleb at this point, we're not friends. That's what it is.
Look, I was saying before we recorded, and I'm not super serious, but also not entirely lying. I'm sure that Bears fans at this point, there is still the people who wanted Justin Fields so bad that they're almost like, okay, well, what if we trade for Justin and it's a pick that's less than the one than we traded him for? So now we get Justin back for plus value. You can take Marv at 1. You can trade down for 1. I am sure there are people that are out there that actually still believe that. If you're one of them, this is a support group for you. Not entirely, but we'd love to hear it in the comments because I'd love to know if you guys exist. All right,
Connor,
so we're taking.
Can you stop him?
I was going to say, he's just trying to get people to show their ass in the comment section. That's literally all he's fishing for right now. It's cruel behavior.
I know what happens with the YouTube algorithm.
It is cruel behavior what you're doing. We're on to you.
All right, we're taking Caleb Williams at number 1 overall. The correct choice, by the way. Connor, there is a debate now at number 2.
Is there?
For us, probably not.
No, I don't think there is for us. I mean, in the actual draft, yes, this is maybe the hottest debate right now.
I was going to say, we had Bengal on the show last week, and we made him kind of squirm over this one a little bit. And
good for you guys, by the way. You're like Led Zeppelin coming on after an acoustic set after Bengal. Like, I mean, really, like, just like the crowd was like, oh, okay. Now, like, you come on the stage and everybody's like chugging beer and like doing shots. So,
Which is
I
hilarious.
have to get my digs at Bengal because we all know it's in good fun. I love the guy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
They made it because obviously, like, Bengal is what's his New York affiliations? He's
from
a
New
Giants
Jersey, so
fan and a Yankees fan.
Giants, Yankees fan that lives in Texas.
Those two made it over an hour before Bengal said something, and then Connor was like, "Hell yeah, baby! Here comes the brass knuckles."
I held it really well. He called Taylor ham pork roll, and I said this has been a bad show, and that was it.
Did it end right there? I didn't watch all the way to the end.
I don't think it did.
No, it actually really pissed him off in good fun. And then I said, it's funny, like a Yankees fan in Texas, and man, they don't like that. They're all over the globe. So it was, yeah. So
you too know what the YouTube algorithm does.
Of course.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
All right, Connor, you're right. I think that you're correct. This isn't really a debate for us. Both of us have Drake May. I don't want to 100% speak for you, but firmly QB2 in this class, correct? Is that correct to say? Okay.
Yeah, I have a little gap. Caleb is QB1 for me. Drake May is QB2. And then I see Drake in his own tier there. There's not a debate for me between him and others to be the second guy.
I would agree with you. I would love to hear, Brett and EJ, what you guys think.
Me too.
Obviously, this is a transition. We're going to take Drake May because we believe that he's QB2 in this class, and Washington should take him at number 2. It's a transition into you guys picking here at number 3. What's the QB order for you guys? Like, is it close between Jaden? Is he really in this conversation? Is he so close that it's like, yeah, now you got to take him at 3 if you're New England? Or, take me down kind of how you guys have ordered this quarterback class here this year.
So this is interesting because EJ and I typically don't show each other our rankings until basically the week of the draft. So I don't know.
Shoot.
I don't know how
right.
EJ has these ordered. No, that's what makes it great. Is like we'll
awesome.
we get into draft week and I'll see him throw a name at like 5 or 6, and I throw a name at like 5, and we're both like, "What the fuck?" Like, what? It's great.
That's amazing.
I didn't even know that. Like,
yeah,
for
the most part. I mean, sometimes look, we have lots of conversations about position groups and generally tiers, and I think tiers are. This is a great conversation to have. In short, here is for us, tiers are more important than the ranking within the tiers. It's blocks and houses, or however you want to make that analogy. And it is more important which tier a guy is in rather than where he is in that tier, because typically there's only anywhere between 2 and 4 guys in a top tier before you get down. Like the wide receiver class is obviously going to have some that are really stacked this year because there's just so many guys. But typically in like a quarterback class where you're talking about, 6 or 7 players you're really interested in, you might have 3 or 4 tiers. And it's much more important where a guy lands in a tier than it is where he is within that tier. So,
so where are
I was going to say, and that's the point of the that's exactly the point of it, So
I have May and Jaden in a tier. Do you have May and Jaden in the same tier?
I actually don't right now.
Okay, so if you had a QB2, who is your QB2?
I have Jaden as QB2.
Ooh,
this is good,
and not in a tier with Drake.
No, I think Caleb's really in his own tier, and again, that's the sort of most important thing.
Yeah,
is he's just by himself, and we all agree on that. So you get down to the second tier, and where I get in there is like I like Drake a lot, but there are things that I worry about. And there are things I worry about with Jaden too, but I think about again all the things you think about when you're ranking guys, how successful he's going to be initially, where he might go. Obviously, I think he's a better fit in Washington, given who their OC is, in terms of what would be a better landing spot for him. So for me, combined with the running ability, he really is his own tier as second. And then the third tier is where it gets really interesting because Drake leads off that tier for me, but there are other guys in that tier who we'll talk about probably as we get down in the rankings here.
For me, I have a tier 2 of May and then Jaden, but they're within the same tier. So our common denominator is Jaden in tier 2. So why don't we just go with Jaden?
Yeah,
it's not like
it's
you can go
more about
wrong.
New England in terms of, should New England trade down? This is what we do,
Right.
though. And
Yeah.
I have trouble with New England without a quarterback this year. I know there's the argument to build the team around before you get the quarterback so that you can maximize that window. But I'm like, so what are you going to do this year? Because if you don't take one, what are you left with? And how do you sell tickets for that?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm down for Jaden.
Okay.
So we're going Jaden Daniels then at number 3. So we're going quarterback. As you guys can see on my rankings, I have Jaden a little bit further down. So Connor, now that starts the question of what are we going to do at number 4 overall? Which way are you leaning here in this situation with 3 quarterbacks off the board?
Quite often we've opened up the door for somebody to come into this pick and get a quarterback. And, Arizona, we saw how much they were able to, how pliable they were last year at the top of the draft. I think, though, this year,
that video of Monty just working the phones, baby.
Just like double phones, crossed
I'm
wires.
so jazzed for it this year. I'm
it's
so
going to be a thing
jazzed
now.
for part 2.
It's going to be a thing. I
Yeah.
think in this scenario, Trevor, I'm okay with taking the best player in the draft, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, they've made their decision to roll forward with Kyler, which I don't disagree with at all. If you bring Marv into the fold here and you're still picking, I feel, I guess we can get to this later, or the guys can. I actually love the idea of Arizona coming up from pick 27 and getting another player in that top tier of this draft. And because I see a gap when you get to like player 21, 22, as most drafts have. But at 4, it'll depend what the offers are coming in, but you just feel good sitting in this spot because of the caliber of receiver you're getting.
I have no issues sitting here at number 4 and objectively taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I think I would say that if a team outside of the top 10 is offering you like a crazy quarterback price, obviously you got to think about it. I look at the Giants, though, at number 6.
Sure.
And I wonder if this really is best case scenario. But that's if they love McCarthy, right? And
right.
We're also picking for the Giants at 6.
Exactly.
It's not that big of a jump.
But I'm not taking McCarthy in the top 6, though.
Then then okay. Then we probably aren't having this conversation because Brett and EJ, you guys are picking for Minnesota, who pick odds. They pick both 11 and 23. I don't know if this is like, if we're picking up the phone, if we're going Monty Austin-Ford style, and you're like, yo, would you guys want to move up to 4 in a what we would do mock draft? Would you guys entertain something like that or not?
We're still down at the food court. We're not coming up for JJ McCarthy. We're grabbing a bite to eat. We'll catch you guys in 20 minutes. That's how we're looking at it.
Okay. All right. See,
you like JJ, but
this is why
we're kind of with you guys. We wouldn't do that,
Right. You like picking twice in the first round over that.
Right. Yeah. And I think there's obviously going to be some people who are watching this video who go like, man, this isn't going to be realistic, kind of a thing. But there are predictive mock drafts, and then there are like, okay, but this is what we would do if we were in the seat. And the more I think about it for Arizona, sure, I would love a ton of different draft picks, but at the same time, I don't really know if I'd move past 6, just because you're guaranteed to get one of Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors then at that point. So you add a little bit of extra draft capital, you move down a little bit, still get a good wide receiver. And then at that point, you got to be comfortable taking Marv. So if you're comfortable with it, Connor, we take Marvin Harrison Jr. right here.
Let's do it.
Stick at number 4. Yep. All right, we're doing it. Y'all are on the clock with the Los Angeles Chargers at number 5. Another pivotal trade spot.
Well, EJ and I didn't want to come up to 4 for JJ. Do you want to come up to 5? From 12?
I particularly don't, for the most part, but this is where I know we announced at the top it is a what we would do mock draft. But considering that we have Minnesota at 11 and we also have the Chargers at 5, we might call ourselves here because I'm thinking of Kevin O'Donnell, right? Again, they don't have a quarterback right now. Like, not one they want to start.
Sam Darnold slander.
Hey, Jets legend. Jets legend.
I'm
Carolina
happy.
Panthers legend.
As a guy that really liked Sam Darnold in the draft, I'm happy to flip over, do the heel turn. We said this was the Rock, the people's mock draft. I'll be final boss on Sam Darnold and say, nah, sorry. Like I have given up the ghost on that one. So can they get by with him? Sure, but
he gave Sam Darnold the people's elbow.
Yeah, that's right. I'm happy to do it. At this point, I wasn't when he came out. I was hot on Sam Darnold, but the league shows you what you were wrong about. So I think at this point, if we believe that Kevin O'Connell wants JJ, this would be the spot to do it. Because if you wait, I think the Giants are certainly a threat to just stick a pick, take him there. And it's not a crazy jump. It's not, I mean, it's big in terms of draft capital, but other than that, you're just starting Sam Darnold.
Well, if we get both Vikings picks, is that even value? If it's just straight,
Trevor could take a look here. If we propose a trade with Minnesota coming up
let's see.
to 5, what do we have to pay for it to make it work?
11, 23, 5. Ooh. 38% chance.
Which is interesting.
It says
because on the Rich Hill chart, it's overvalue, which I know like none of this is perfect science, but
no.
Oh yeah, wait. It's saying that the Vikings are overvalue here.
Yeah. So
okay,
but so it's saying the Chargers wouldn't do this. Yeah.
Which the Chargers would reject it.
That's the value that we have here. Now, obviously, look, we know that a quarterback tax is something that's like unquantifiable, it feels like. But like right now, just the value of getting 11 and 23 for 5, it's saying that because I'm clicking an extra pick for Minnesota and it's taking it the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So it's basically saying that
so take off 23, leave 11 and 5 on there, and then add other picks from Minnesota to see if we can make it work.
All right, what do you want? I mean, you also have to realize that you're bidding against you.
So what do you think? First two for quarterback tax. We give them the first 2 rounders.
You can do that.
We get our quarterback. Like, I mean, I know it's lopsided, but
I think that's an easy. That's a easy way to just
to get it.
All right, so you want to do it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so now y'all are still.
And this is more of a what Kevin O'Connell would do than what we would do necessarily.
And that's fine.
At the same time,
you got to blend it.
Boy, if you're in Minnesota, what do you have? It's tough to say, oh, Justin Jefferson, hang out, play with Sam Darnold for a year. We'll have something for you in a year. That's not the way NFL teams or players think.
Right. And I genuinely am with you. Like, JJ's a good developmental quarterback, I think. Y'all are taking him off the board, so you can give your thoughts if you want. But, like, I would not love JJ starting week 1 in the NFL, but you draft him here. Sam Darnold gets to start for you. You know you're not going to be catastrophically terrible, or at least hopefully. And you give him a little bit of time. So I think that year 2, year 3 is a slingshot years anyways. So I still like this one.
I understand it. I do want to say for full transparency, if it was just me and I was a totalitarian dictator, I would, and this maybe it sounds crazy to you guys, I would have just taken Bo Nix at 11. Is that as crazy as it sounds? If I'm solely running the room,
I'm thinking the same thing I'm thinking the same thing as you, Brett. I would take Penix, but I'm thinking the same thing as you, where like your next quarterback, right? I'm obviously very high on Michael Penix. That's it's been that way for a really long time. That would be my strategy. So I don't think we're that far off the same trail.
Okay, yeah, I'm with Connor. It would, if I was going to stay at 11 and take a quarterback, it would be Penix over Nix.
All right, well, hold on.
This is so realistic though, because this is a trade that happens even though nobody wants to make the trade, which is exactly what happens in the NFL.
I will trade the picks back. I will do it if you guys actually want to do that, because we just had the conversation. We fulfilled our obligation.
But I think it sets the draft up in a fair manner,
in a realistic way.
Yeah. Like,
and I also think the other side of this that we're not talking about is the Chargers are thrilled with this. Like the Chargers get what they want. Right. They want to get out of 5. They're still going to get what they want in terms of a top tier tackle and something else. So they're jumping up and down next to Brett. Like they're just like, yeah, we got what we wanted.
I think
like
for the sake of
conversation.
realism, this is
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, JJ at 5, Minnesota, which, I mean, it is funny that we talk, we're all very, it seems as though, like we just said, people love the idea of McCarthy in Minnesota. People love the idea of the Chargers getting to trade down from 5. It's just is he worth all these picks kind of a thing that really throws a wrench in it. So we make it happen. Obviously, we think that both teams are happy outside of the draft value. But Connor Wupper, number 6 now. Malik?
Yeah, Malik.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It's got to be Malik.
Wide receiver 2, baby.
Giants do really well here with all the quarterbacks going in front of them. And I know you can make the argument, well, they also need one for the future, but this team has desperately needed a number 1 wide receiver for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So Malik Neighbors.
Or Bo Nix at 6. No? Okay. All right. Malik Neighbors at number 6.
Michael Pratt, 6th overall.
We're gonna go. Hey. Don't throw Michael Pratt in there with Bo Nix. Don't do that.
Keaton Slovis, 6th
Do
overall.
not do this to me. Titans are up at number 7. Y'all are up.
It's got to be all right.
At this point, you get your pick of tackles. I don't know why you wouldn't pick Joel. If he's sitting there like staring you in the face, you didn't think you were necessarily going to get him. There's a really good chance you thought he was probably going to go to Los Angeles. Yeah, I would run that pick up pretty quickly.
I will say this because I know Titans fans have gotten kind of shafted throughout draft season because they are so easy. And they come to these mock drafts and are like, I want substantive analysis about my team. And everybody's mock drafts on all of our channels are just constantly like, Joel. Like, and we never actually like talk about the Titans.
They have to though.
They really have to. And that line is so bad. It's so bad. And if you just go, and I'm stunned that I'm saying this, considering where we're at with him last year. Give Will Levis 2.5 seconds to cook, and he's shown he can cook, right? You got a number 1 receiver. I think the interior trio is a hell of a lot better than it was last year. You literally just need a left tackle. And all of a sudden that offense, dare I say, not just competent, but fun to watch, maybe?
Right. Like we can have the quick Tennessee Titans breakdown for you. Okay, you spent all the money on Calvin Ridley. You drafted Traylon Burks pretty high. You spent the money on DeAndre Hopkins. You have the trio of receivers. Chikakwankwo is a good tight end. You have Will Levis, who's a young quarterback to invest in. You signed Tony Pollard. Tajay Spears looks good as well. Defensive line, obviously, it's centered around Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry, but there's some other decent players that are there as well. Linebackers, okay, but you're not really thinking about that at 7 overall anyways. You brought in L'Jarius Sneed. You've got Roger McCreary to play the nickel. You got Amani Hooker. You got Elijah Molden. You signed Chidobe Awuzie. Like, your cards are basically on the table for every other area of your team other than offensive line being very bad at offensive tackle. There's your breakdown.
Makes sense.
Joel
Bingo.
7.
Done.
All right.
Run it in.
Titans fans can't complain anymore. We talked about them.
There it is.
Right.
There you go. We love you, Titans fans. We really do. But this one is about as streamlined as it possibly gets.
Right.
They signed Calvin Ridley. They traded for L'Jarius Sneed. That was about it. All right. Speaking of defensive players, I mean, I don't know how good of a transition that was. I only mentioned one of them, L'Jarius Sneed, but we're going to roll with it.
It's very silky.
The Atlanta Falcons. Thank you. They call me, They call me Trevor Sikkema, actually, for the transition.
There you go.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, boy.
At number 8. Pass rusher or corner here? Connor, what do you think?
I lean pass rusher, and obviously there's some really good corners in this draft, but I just come back to the combo between Johnny Newton or one of the top edge guys in this spot for me. I think now I will be very transparent. I think Atlanta's going to have the phones ringing here because I'm very curious how teams will want to get in front of the Bears and the Jets for Rome Odunze, making this a profitable non-quarterback move-up spot.
Don't you fucking dare.
Well, yeah, but okay, I like this, but let's think about it. Who moves up? The Chargers now?
Only the people that want to die.
Man. The Chargers
make an
going
enemy of
full
your life
Monty.
right now?
The Chargers going full Monty is actually pretty fun.
Right? Like, because I'm trying to think
For
about
a
it.
receiver with Harbaugh. Let's go.
It's what we would do.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then you look at, to me, I'd still like to see another capable wide receiver in Jacksonville. I know the Steelers just knocked it out of the park.
This one's getting a lot of play. So one of my colleagues over at Windy City Gridiron works in Jacksonville for 1010XL in Jacksonville. And she brought this up. She was like, there's a lot of rumble about Jacksonville getting up to get Odunze. And it was really with the Bears. It was the next spot, not this one, but still same thing. Would Poles give up a shot at Odunze for multiple picks, because the Bears have this huge gap between 9 and 75.
Right.
And, all of us were like, yeah, the picks are nice, but we'd hate that. So no, we're not considering it.
Right. Trevor, I have no problem just taking Johnny Newton here, by the way.
Yeah, I don't either. I've never really seriously thought about the Chargers at 11 popping back up, going full Monty, which I don't know if you ever want to go full Monty if you're not Monty himself, but.
And I mean,
Jacksonville
they don't have to. That's the thing. If we're looking at the Chargers can sit at 11 and get what they wanted at 5, which is a top tackle.
Yes.
They can absolutely sit there and get a great tackle. So,
man, Jacksonville is very interesting.
Yeah, Jacksonville, I think, is more. I don't want to say it's more realistic, but I would definitely say it's more interesting.
I think it's more realistic for sure.
Because what's the difference in trade in value? It's 1,400 on the draft chart to 950. So
yeah, you gotta make a move. They're down their ways.
You're basically like giving up your second round pick. So you're giving like your first and your second to get up with Atlanta.
That should be the cost.
I don't know. All right.
Now, if you're Atlanta and you want a top pass rusher, Jacksonville's pick is
17.
17.
You'd be basically pivoting for a quarterback or a corner back at that point.
Or hey, maybe if the rusher you want, interior or edge, is there at 17, and there's possibility because again, we're gonna see some more tackles go off the board. Probably going to see more wide receivers go off the board.
Yeah.
So you could say theoretically, hey, we're still going to have a bunch of players to choose from, which is the ideal way to trade down in the draft. You don't just want to be trying to snipe one guy because then if you trade down, it doesn't work. You're just, now what do we do? So.
Well, y'all pick for 17.
That's the hang up here.
Would you? Well, all right. So we're Atlanta. We're calling you.
Yeah.
You give us your first 17 and you give us your second and you can come up and get Odunze. Connor, are you signing off on that or no?
For Atlanta, absolutely.
Okay.
I get 17 and 48. Yeah, that's the price.
That's the price.
But it's up to the guys.
Right.
I'm just going to raise the conflict of interest flag. No way. I can't sign off on it. But
that's fair.
Go ahead. What's your argument? I want to hear it.
My argument is this Jags team has missed on a lot of draft picks. They've tried to buy their way out of it. They need cheap talent. I don't think they can afford to give up picks at this point. I really don't think
I would agree with you given the recent draft history of poorly spent high draft picks, especially. They have not turned a profit on high draft capital lately. And so doing so and saying, no, trust us. We're gonna go all in. We're gonna dump a bunch of extra picks. And this one's gonna hit. Now, we all, I think Odunze is gonna hit and is one of the safer bets in this draft. But again, high round pick hit rates for wide receivers, not as good as you might think if you go back through recent drafts. So they
just need so much position.
Yeah, it's a tough position for Jacksonville to say, no, trust us. We're going to do it right this time.
All right.
Yeah, I think we'll let you guys stick at 8 and you can take whoever you want.
You all right, Connor, you thinking Latu over Newton? Newton over Latu? I would be good with either one.
I am. I just want to raise one last thing.
Okay.
Are we just completely ignorantly discounting that Atlanta could also take Rome Odunze and that would be fine?
There's no way they do that.
I wouldn't go no way.
no way either. I'm with Connor here. I think there is a slight chance. I think it is not a likely thing to happen.
I agree.
But at the same time, if they did it, everybody's going to kind of turn at that moment and go, huh, I kind of like that.
Is he playing both ways like Ronnie Bass? Remember the Titans? Was he playing edge rusher and wide receiver?
He can't do it.
I think it comes down to this. Every single year, when we look at the Atlanta Falcons, the franchise is all about one thing at this point, and that is how can we find new and creative ways to not give Kyle Pitts the ball? I think drafting Rome accomplishes that mission, which makes it a fairly realistic point.
You know you're fighting against yourself taking Rome off the board one before Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very true, but it would be funny.
Yes, let's take Johnny.
All right, we take Johnny Newton.
We're taking Johnny Newton. We're taking Johnny Newton. Yeah. But a good conversation there, which makes the conversation at 9 extremely easy.
That's that, folks. That is what it looks like when GMs call each other. That is exactly what it looks like.
It is long-winded, disorganized. They don't care about time limits. They'll skip the picks.
Don't they still use fax machines?
To be fair, that's probably what it looks like in the VIP area of Prime at the Combine when they're actually starting these conversations.
There we go.
Whiskey on the rocks, right?
Never wrong, when just early.
Yeah, right, when it's draft season or when the draft rolls around, you're on the phone for 2 seconds. You're acting like you got a roaming charge that's about to happen, and you got to hang up the phone as quickly as possible.
Okay, I did not have roaming charge on my draft bingo card, but there we go.
There it is. All right, you guys are at 9.
Speaking of doing things quickly, EJ, if you want to put on your track shoes, you're going to sprint this one in.
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. That card is already up.
Yeah.
Like,
bring me Rome.
Fax machine or not, I raced the impulse down the phone line and beat it. Like, it's there.
All right, there it is. Rome Odunze off the board at number 9 to the Chicago Bears. Jets could have used him, Connor.
Yeah, it could have helped.
Not gonna lie.
Remember what I said earlier today? Our goal was to piss off Connor. That's all we wanted to do today.
Mock draft accomplished.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually have the screenshots to show that is exactly what the draft plan was at this point, and it did very well. Okay, so what are we doing at 10? You tell me.
I mean, you and I have been unified that in this scenario, Troy Fautanu would be our pick. I think it's more likely the Jets would take one of Brock Bowers or Talisa Fuanga, but this is what we would do. Do you want to try to talk me into something else, Trev, since you and I have been so unified on Fautanu?
I mean, if Jets fans would like to see a mock draft where Brock Bowers goes 10, obviously I think that Brock eats in this offense, right? I mean, like he's essentially wide receiver 2 in the offense if they draft him, which is great. But again, like, if either of your very old offensive tackles go down, you're in the same spot you were last year. And if you draft Fautanu, and we've talked about this on this show so many times, he starts at left guard immediately. If he needs to kick out to left tackle at any point, you sign John Simpson to bring him in to do exactly that.
Exactly.
If you need if Morgan Moses goes down at right tackle, Elijah Vera Tucker goes out to right tackle, you slide in John Simpson to be able to play right guard. Like, it's just, it's something where it's not like you're drafting a backup. You are drafting a absolute starter in the trenches. And then if one of your guys happens to go down, you have enough flexibility. So
that's right.
And I just did the opposite of what you wanted me to do. And
I think you reinforced. You reinforced why you and I have been driving this ship while everybody else is going the other direction.
It's an 18-wheeler at this point. We're going Troy Fautanu at 10 to the New York Jets. So you guys are up with the Chargers at 11.
First of all, EJ, I'll ask you, do you want to pick here?
Oh.
We just were talking to a mutual friend who said the Chargers might want to, go down again here in terms of adding even more picks. But
very Ravens of them. Yeah.
It certainly could be. I think if the phone rings and they get a pretty good offer, fine. If not, I also think they're much happier sitting here than they would have been at 5 because they already have the extra picks and they can accomplish their goal, which, again, the absolute steady drumbeat out of the Chargers organization is we want to get tougher. We want to establish the run. We want to be more physical. We want to be tough to break. Like, there are players available here that could do that.
I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand to be called upon.
All right.
Can I be
Go
called
for
upon?
Yeah.
What about the Bengals trading up to this spot?
That's exactly who I was going to suggest
Because you jump the Broncos for Bowers, right?
You also, well, it depends on what they're going for here. You also jump New Orleans for a tackle.
You take Fuanga, right?
Right.
It's really you're jumping that whole pack of death in the middle of the first round,
and they have an extra third round pick for the comp pick too. So, like,
it's just all those teams in front of them need all the same stuff they need, right?
Right.
So it's if you want your pick of the litter, EJ, would you listen to go to 18?
Oh, I would certainly listen because I still think I can get what I want, right? If I'm
I think so too.
Like I'm not putting myself outside the range. Again, in a lot of drafts, if I needed a top tackle, 18's getting pretty ticklish for whether or not one of those guys is still going to be there. And it is possible that a big run happens and you like the look of that a lot less. But the Chargers are not a team that needs only one thing either. So I think they can still look at their draft board and say, we can get a top talent in one of our top two needs, and we can get extra picks. And who knows if, the Brock Bowers of the world inhabit this land, we still might get a top tackle, right? And if not, we're probably staring at a corner we like a lot, and that doesn't hurt our feelings either. So
what's your price to come up from 18?
Not super high. I'll take what you're going to give me at this point because, again, you're not putting me out as a team. Like, my risk as a team, draft-wise, is not super high. I'm going to be pretty happy with the player I get there because I have needed tackle, I have needed corner. We've got top talent still available at both positions. We're not on
the value number difference is, I think, 350. It's like 350, which the Bengals' second round pick is 410, but I don't think they part with their second round pick. Like, the Bengals just do not do that.
Can you do 2 3s?
2 3s, I think, would be
over.
We could throw you back of maybe a 5.
Actually, no, it wouldn't be. You give them both 3s.
Yeah, 80 and 97,
and then the Chargers would have 3 third round picks.
Yeah.
Which I feel like Ortiz would love.
I would do that in a heartbeat because, again, I'm not going to leave the first round without a player that I really like. And if, again, Cincinnati, to you all's point, wants to hop above that sort of valley of knives and get the player they want pick of the litter. This is not a terribly expensive way to do it. And if they're locked in with the player, again, if they believe that, Bowers is going to take over Tyler Boyd's role and keep that offense humming, go for it.
All right. So Bengals trading up. I mean, I guess this is us, Connor, right?
Yep. 18, 80, and 97 for 11.
For 11. Okay. Made it happen. Are you taking a tackle at 11 or you want Bowers?
I would take Fuanga, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
Even with Brown there and even with Boyd not there and even with T. Higgins on the franchise tag?
I mean, you still got T and Jamar.
I think I'd take Bowers.
Okay.
Honestly. Now, it gets a little tricky, right? Because I just traded a first round pick and 2 third round picks for a tight end. So it's like...
Right. Yeah. And I mean, how many games... Is Trent Brown playing a full season at right tackle, or are we going to be back to square?
Here's the other one. This
is
the classic draft game, right? Would you rather take, let's just say, receiver, because we'll call Bowers a receiver because that's his primary strength. Do you want a receiver here up high or a tackle? And you said Fuaga. So, flip it to what you're going to get in the second round. Who's the tackle you're going to get in the second round? Who's the receiver you're going to get in the second round? Which pair do you like better?
That's why you keep 49. Because if you keep 49, you're getting a damn good receiver.
Right. All right. But is the level of the tackle as good at 49 as it would be?
No way.
It's not even close.
Then
it's
you take
jarring
and receiver next.
All right, Fuanga it is then.
You're okay?
Yeah. No,
all right.
brother.
All right.
Brother.
We made the trade and then we debated who to take. Usually goes the opposite way.
Always love it.
All right, what do we do now?
No, we got up. Yeah, but for what? We made it up there.
Yeah. Wait,
All
I
right,
thought you
Fuanga.
wanted. No, I thought you wanted. Oh boy.
All right, Fuanga at 11.
Well, the Bengals have 3 scouts, so that could actually happen.
It's true.
And no GM.
You listening to this podcast, you are a freelance scout for the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, so you guys are up at 12 for the Broncos. Good luck.
I will say, the first week I ever met EJ was at the 2020 Senior Bowl, and I won't say who we were with, but we were at a coffee shop that was like down the street from the hotel. We saw, Bengal scouts walking down the street, and I pointed out, I was like, "Oh, this is a couple Bengal scouts," and the guy that was with us was like, "No, that's the scouting department. That's all of them. That's all they got, guys."
Like if you throw a blanket over those guys and put them in a truck, they're completely helpless. Like that's it. You've crippled the organization.
Oh, man.
Kidnapping the front office.
Easier,
Didn't make the
easier
picket
than
time, they
in most
lose it.
places in Cincinnati.
Yep. By the way, Trevor, we're on the clock.
Oh, we are? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have evens.
No, we played ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I love that. You're like, good luck. I'm like,
look,
about that.
I'm not going into next season with Jared Stidham.
I mean, no franchise should.
You know that I'm higher on Bo Nix than you are. You're higher on Michael Penix than I am.
I'll give you this one because you let me take Penix the last time we picked around here. We picked for the Raiders.
Bo Nix, baby.
All right, a very Sean
wow.
Payton
Bo Nix, baby.
feel.
It's absolutely happening.
Yeah.
I like this for Sean Payton specifically, right? I mean, like, keep the offense on rhythm. Are all the pieces there? Obviously not. They were very clearly moving on from Russell Wilson. It felt like the second that Sean Payton was there, and Sean Payton's just going to want to get his guys entirely in there. Next to me is a Sean Payton type.
In more ways than one, and I think the important one is, can you take it? Because Sean Payton is going to be hard on a young quarterback, and Nick has a ton of experience. His dad played the game. He's been doing this since an early age. He's going to understand hard coaching. He might not like it, but he's had a lot of experience. That's, a point that's been played out.
I was going to say, but like, I feel like that's in his blood, right? Like that's who he is. It feels like, I've obviously never interviewed him or whatever, any of his quarterback coaches, but
he's going to be able to withstand it. I think if you're talking about a player that has, we've had players very recently in the draft that have had, 13 starts, 20 starts total at the college level. You throw that guy to Sean Payton, I'm not sure.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of formation happening there. I'm not going to be sure it's all good. So Nick's, I worry a lot less about that.
He keeps things on rhythm, man. He is an on rhythm type of a passer. Give me the offense. Allow me to orchestrate it. I can get the ball in the hands of my playmakers, and I don't say that as like a discount to his talent. I really do think that there's a world where him and Sean Payton are a perfect match. So y'all are up now at 13 with the Raiders.
This crushes me because I have Nix and McCarthy in the same tier, and I would have loved for him to be there. Crap. Okay.
All right. The question is, do we go Penix?
You like him more than me.
I do. I like him a lot. I'm with Connor on this one. I really like
Go off, EJ. Penix. Sell the pick.
Look, Michael Penix, it's so funny to me that people pound the table, draft folks pound the table and say, we want somebody that can stand in the pocket, go through progressions, deliver the ball down the field with accuracy. Like, you get all those things. Michael Penix is that to a T. And they're like, well, I'm not sure he can run. You're like, wait, when they can run, you say you want a pocket passer.
He can run.
He can absolutely run.
He came out at his pro day, the gasp at the UW pro day when he ran. I was looking down when he ran, and I looked up, and our buddy Alex Casson was next to me. I said, who was that? He goes, Mike, which was the tenor of the room. Holy crap, he was cooking. So
gotta go back to that Indiana tape, baby.
Well, again, Indiana tape, not necessarily the same after all the injury, but he can still run. But more importantly, I think that when you really dig into Penix, one of the things that's most important is there's a stat that is much debated, which is the pressure percentage converted to sacks. And obviously you want that to be lower as a quarterback. And Penix is one of the lowest in this class. So his movement within the pocket, highly underrated skill that we do not talk about enough. Yes, if you can flush him out of the pocket or you can hit him, which is true with most quarterbacks, his efficiency declines. But his ability to stay in the pocket and deliver and avoid pressure and keep that from becoming sacks within the pocket is one of the best in this class. Not to mention, he can absolutely sling it. The accuracy's there. Everybody's like, well, he's going to be playing with lesser receivers. Well, that's pretty much true wherever he goes. He's playing with 3 NFL guys, right? He's going to his 3 guys are going to get drafted in the top 60 in this draft.
I was going to say, unless Chicago takes him at 1 and then drafts Rome at 9, he's pretty much like downgrading wherever he goes.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I like him more. Again, do you think that he is an upgrade, again, with high draft capital here? We're only at 13, right? It's a little rich for my blood, but what else are you going to get? Is there somebody with all the quarterbacks who've already gone off the board this year, like, oh, we can wait till 2 and get blank?
Doesn't feel like it.
No. I don't think so.
Again, it's way early for me in terms of value for the player, but if we're looking at the situation,
yes,
every move that the Raiders have made, that doesn't feel like the posture of a team that's willing to wait.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like they're trying to put together a ball club that can compete right now. At least, try to make a run at a 7 seed and just like not be embarrassing, right? And they don't have a quarterback on the roster right now that I think accommodates that posture. So Penix would probably start for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'd be a more fun offense with him. And at the end of the day, if the goal of the draft is to just get better at key positions, they would be getting better at a key position. Is it like ideal value? No, but it's better than what they got. And this is not a team that feels like they're trying to tear it down and rebuild. It feels like they're trying to compete. So this is probably the best move to compete.
So we doing it?
Yeah,
I think so.
We'll do it. If it was pure player value, we would pick the top corner because they also have a need at corner. And I think the value is better at corner, but corner doesn't swing the game as much as quarterback does. And if we like Aiden, we interviewed him. We think he's a great dude. If you don't think Penix is an upgrade over Aiden, you're not watching the same film.
Right. I agree.
All right. Michael Penix. That's 5 quarterbacks in the top 13, baby. Oh, love to see it. All right, we got to kick it into gear to finish out round 1 so we can get into round 2. Saints at number 14.
Olu?
It's Olu or Latham. It's pretty much a coin flip for me. They're 18 and 19 on my board. So if you're much higher on Olu, we should go Olu here.
Yeah, it would be Olu for me.
I don't think you can go into next season thinking sunshine and rainbows with Ryan Ramczyk at right tackle, who might not be healthy enough to play after this year, and Trevor Penning, who just has not been a consistent, reliable offensive tackle. So it's like you've got to go get an offensive tackle here. It's one of those 2 guys, I think.
Yeah, I'd roll with Olu.
All right, so we're going Olu at 14 for the Saints. Obviously, they could do a couple of different positions, but to us, it's very obvious that offensive tackle's the pick. Y'all are up at 15 with Indy.
Quignon?
Yes.
Quignon.
I was like, okay, if you don't suggest, like, if we're going to debate which corner, it's definitely corner. And I could be swayed for Terrion, but like, if you say Quignon's my top corner. Indianapolis is extremely happy that he falls into their lap here. He's a great player. He's a great fit. He's going to start from day 1. Do it.
Over Bowers? Did you say it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but mainly because we got some other like the degenerates we are. We have some tight ends in our back pocket.
Love that. Can't wait for that. Okay, Quignon to the Colts at 15 then. Connor 16.
I'm fascinated. This is where I get the popcorn out. This particular pick is where I'm getting the popcorn out to see how your guys' brains are attacking this one.
I think it's one of 2 players.
All right.
If you ask me humbly.
Okay. I'm curious if we have the same idea.
Is that possible?
I'll ask you humbly.
I hope not, because that's I can't do it. JC Latham.
Yep, that was my idea, and I would play him at
To
guard.
probably play guard, and then if Abe Lucas isn't able to go, obviously at right tackle, you get an easy slide out, just like the similar situation with the New York Jets. And the other one is Latu, just because he's the best pass rusher in the draft.
Yeah, I would take Latham and play him at guard and see what happens with your right tackle situation.
Okay, so that's where were those your two players, and that's where you'd lean?
Latham was my player with the idea he plays guard because he's not my top tackle available, but I like his transition to guard.
Oh, wait, who do you have over Latham that's left?
Mims.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, just
sense.
better
guy.
feet. Yeah.
All right, let's go Latham.
Okay.
I like that plan that we outlined. I think that's genuinely a really good one for Seattle. Unless they just believe we're drafting Mims and we're going to start him right away. It's no question about it. I think you can get a better 5 out there if you get Latham. Y'all are up with the Jags at 17?
Okay. I'm between a couple different things here.
Okay.
I understand corner. We're looking at corner.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tyson Campbell. I don't trust Ronald Darby to be my starter right now. So I understand we're looking at corner too. I also understand we're looking at potentially edge, but AD Mitchell's staring me in the face. And they spent money on Game Davis. I don't care. They have Zay Jones there who's reliable, but I don't care that much. As odd as it sounds, even though everybody, made fun of how much they paid at the time, Christian Kirk is their most reliable receiver.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good, but I don't want to go into a make or break year on a cheap rookie Trevor Lawrence contract where it's like we are falling behind in the division. We are falling behind fast. I am not going into this make or break year with Christian Kirk as not just my number one, but far and away my number one. Can I interest you in AD Mitchell for that reason?
No. You can interest me in a wide receiver, but it's Brian Thomas.
EJ, we are like the same person.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's so funny because I think Brett and I see this class very similarly with a lot of the debatable prospects Knicks versus Penix, Brian Thomas Jr. versus AD Mitchell. There have just been I can already tell there have been a couple of instances where it's I align with Brett very well here. Connor aligns with EJ very well, which
it was the no for me though. Brett put on the speech of his life, and he was like, "Nope."
And I know that's going to open the podcast, and people are going to be like, "Wow, what the hell?"
No, I like AD Mitchell. I don't love him. I see the upside. I get everybody's arguments. I just don't see him that way. I was on Jacksonville radio last week and we were talking about this particular thing. What do we do at 1? For me, it's really probably Brian Thomas if you're going to go wide receiver. And I absolutely understand. You set up the argument really well about how you're going into the year as Jacksonville and are you, trailing in the division. And I think if you just stay at wide receiver, but again, depth of this wide receiver class, can you get a guy later on down? And look, do you take Terry on here because he's in
they need corner. Yeah.
My board, he's above AD Mitchell as a player. I don't think it's any sort of consolation prize. We have to take corner, so we're getting a lesser player. We need corner, we need wide receiver. I'm doing the same flip thing. If we get Terry on here and a wide receiver with their next pick, I'm okay with that. You're probably still going to get a good wide receiver. So for me, that's probably the way I would go. If we were sticking and picking a wide receiver, we can go fisticuffs over, AD versus Brian Thomas. For me, it's Brian Thomas. For you, it's AD. I mean, we flip a coin, it doesn't matter. But just, player value. Look, again, we just said it, corner doesn't tilt the field as much, but if we're just going player value, Terrion's a better player than either one of those wide receivers, probably.
This is going to possibly be the most unhinged proposal you guys have had.
Woohoo! Let's go.
Okay, one team needs a receiver really bad. They also have a decent amount of money that they can spend on it, but they also need a corner. And they have a really good edge player that we really, really like that they haven't paid yet. EJ, hear me out.
I'm listening.
Josh Allen for T. Higgins, and then we draft Dallas Turner.
I like the
what do we
first
think?
part. I think the second part is so risky because it's Jacksonville. Like, I like Dallas Turner going to a lot of other developmental spots. I think Dallas Turner, I love his traits, but like, he needs to continue to develop. He is not one of those. Like,
hey,
we're
the
talking
only
about
thing better
Latu.
than one developmental pass rusher is two developmental
like
pass rushers. They already got one.
who haven't worked out.
See what happens.
Wow, I love the first part. The first part's really cool. The second part, I think it would be a harder sell.
Okay, well then, would you do
because it's all
Latu?
potential?
What
If
about
I
Latu?
was honestly we talked about a unique spot.
I'm so invested in this.
Okay,
Yes.
well, let's call up the people that have the 18th pick. Let's bring back the three guys that work in the Cincinnati front office that are here in the call with us. Would
Take
you
him out of
guys
the
be
back of the
willing?
truck, take the blanket off, and hand him a phone. Will you agree to this?
What do you guys think?
Josh Allen for T. Higgins.
Straight swap. We each pay each other's player.
I wouldn't, Trevor.
For which side?
We are getting Josh Allen. We are sending T. Higgins.
See, here's the thing. I think that I would lean no.
Yeah.
But I would also lean no under the assumption that, like, I would want to hold on to T. Higgins. I don't know if Cincinnati is doing that. Like, the way that it feels like the timeline of how they've handled T. Higgins and everything, like,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to hold on to him. So I almost want to do this just to see.
If you get something that you want to hold on to.
Like, essentially.
Yeah.
I again, I'm with you. If we were truly running the Bengals, I would have handled this T. Higgins situation differently anyways. And I think that I would have made him a Bengal for a long time. But I don't think that they're doing that. So this is a fun way where they maybe get out of this. And it's sort of a win-win because Josh Allen and Trey Hendrickson is sick. I mean, that's an incredible duo to get after the quarterback.
Right. But we did move up for Fuanga.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So
now you really got to get
now
that
we
wide
trade T.
receiver in.
Higgins. Yeah, we've totally thinned out our pass catcher room while overbolstering.
But you said
line.
you can get a good wide receiver at 49.
Yeah,
Now
that
you
can
need
play
to.
with Higgins and Chase this year.
Yeah, but
They
he might
use
be able
three
to just
wide
play with
receivers in
Chase.
this offense.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't think we're coming out good in that deal at all because are the Bengals going to pay Josh Allen top edge rusher money? No, they're not.
Well, they have the money to do it.
They don't. Like, look at the structure of their deals. Even when they landed Trey Hendrickson, which was a great deal for them, that deal was like, everyone was like, oh, there was no guarantees deep into this deal, and he ended up outplaying the deal. But we're in a spot where we almost can't win, which is the issue because of the organization, in my opinion.
And how they've handled, I mean, to Trey's point, like how they've handled Higgins to this point.
Right,
Yeah,
and
like we're probably too far in.
I almost just want to do it because I think the T thing
I would want to pick.
I
wouldn't want a player because the organization won't pay the player. So I need the pick. I need the cost-controlled asset.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
That's fair.
All right.
That's the issue with it. Like, we're getting a player we can't
All right,
pay.
that was extremely fun though. I would love to hear people.
It's phenomenal. And
I would
honestly,
love
we
to hear
get
people's opinions. on
So,
it.
Brett, I see the wheels turning. Are you going to trade the pick for T. Higgins?
Jacksonville's not going to have the money then for Higgins and
Yeah, I realize.
Allen. Like, you're letting one of them walk, and it's not going to be the guy that you're about to trade a first round
Unless
pick.
somebody else wants to pay an edge.
Damn.
You know,
Three-way
'cause
deal.
I'm
That sounds very NBA.
well, I'm looking at kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, how about this? Another team in the evens. Let's get a little menage a trois going on here. Tampa Bay. You want to pay Josh Allen?
Trevor.
Oh man.
He does want to. You can,
So what's the trade here?
The trade is we trade our one to Cincinnati. We get T. We pay T. We trade Josh to Tampa. We get Tampa's one. Tampa's one is just Josh Allen for Tampa.
26, Josh Allen, you got to pay him. But if you got the money, like it's
a pretty
what
fun
you're
deal.
getting. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Like at that point, which is you're reducing the risk because again, top round edge rushers, the hit rate it's not 50%, especially not in the late 20s.
The problem is they have to sign Winfield Jr. long term, and they have to sign Tristan Wirfs long term.
Sounds like broke people problems to me, man.
They're basically they're basically letting Chris Godwin walk. This is a guarantee that you're letting Chris Godwin walk after this season,
which is fine at that point, right?
God damn, that'd be sick.
You got him. I love it.
Just think, Josh Allen and Kalijah Kancey running stunts next to each other.
Oh my goodness.
Joe Tryon-Shoyinka and
Diaby's next to him.
And you're talking about paying a 29-year-old Godwin at that point, whose body has not been
all right, let's do it.
Cooperating with him.
All right, let's do it. So I'm an agent of chaos at this point. So I just want to.
No,
see
you just wish you were an agent, because there's a lot of agents going to get paid out of that deal.
Okay, so yeah, 100%. Okay, so Josh Allen is where's edge rusher? Okay, Josh Allen's going to the Bucs for 26. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So force that trade. Okay. Trade again, and then
17's going to Cincy.
Giving.
Jacksonville's giving 17 to Cincy for T.
Yeah, where are the Bengals? Bengals? Here they are. Okay, so then they're giving 17 and T. Higgins. Just straight up, right?
Just straight up.
Okay, so the Bengals are now on the clock.
It's all you.
Oh. All right, what are we doing, Connor? Brock Bowers?
We can take Brock Bowers.
I think you could take Brock Bowers.
You're having your cake and you're eating it too,
because then you can. Because here's the thing: if you just drafted Talise Fuanga, right? So you got the offensive line, you got the offensive tackle situation already figured out. Okay, you moved on from T. Higgins. If you just put Brock Bowers in there, Brock Bowers can be your pseudo wide receiver 2 option thing. While maybe you're drafting another wide receiver at some point in this draft.
Exactly. You could still get a wide receiver.
You could still get a wide receiver. And here's the thing: you could get good wide receivers every year. Every year they become available via trade, via free agency, or via the draft. You draft Brock Bowers here at 18, and you absolutely feast.
Yeah, and they'll get a good wide receiver at 49. We still have that pick.
Right.
Yeah, I'm taking Brock Bowers here. This is quite the.
Oh, I've never felt more alive.
We have multiple bars around the country in 3 different areas going absolutely bananas for different reasons.
Are you not entertained?
Oh,
everybody's eating
at this point.
This is why you subscribe to both channels simultaneously at the same time.
The title of this is How the Bengals Stole the Draft. And it's our faces are like...
I swear, if you're Bengals fans, you don't smash retweet on this draft.
You don't like and subscribe.
Anything nice ever again. Okay, 18. Now this is hilarious because Connor...
We'll give your scouts back.
Yeah, we will return them.
All right, so 18, that's the Los Angeles Chargers. Technically, it's not us because you guys are picking at 5, then you're picking at 11, now you're picking at 18. I will remind you that if Amarius Mims isn't on the board, and if they somehow traded back twice and still got Amarius Mims, I'd freak the hell out. But you guys are up, so you get to make the pick here at 19. It's all on you.
I'm between Mims and Arnold. EJ.
I had a feeling Arnold would creep into this.
Who else is left to tackle besides Mims? Because Mims is awesome and interesting and cool.
Just Graham Barton, Tyler Guyton, Jordan Morgan.
Yeah,
King Suamatia.
Yeah.
If we're getting on that train, it's got to be now, and we got to hope for like
you
Kyrie
also pick
Jackson.
at 23.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. Hold that phone. I was like,
well,
wait
we're not getting Mims at 23 because we got the Rams, the Steelers.
No, you're not.
No. If we want Mims, we have to take him first, and then we still have other corner options that we like that I would consider first round corners. So we could come out of this. It might not be Cincinnati that steals the draft. It might be the Chargers by trading down a bunch.
Let's do that.
Okay.
So you're going Mims?
I'm going Mims.
All right,
I like that.
Mims here. Rams at 19. I feel like this one's, well, I guess it's not pretty easy. I was going to say Latu, but Byron Murphy also an option.
Yeah, so those are the top 2 needs that I have. And to be perfectly transparent, I am cribbing Jordan's notes here, Jordan Rodriguez. She had it as edge, DT, wide receiver, and running back. I don't think anybody's got a better pulse on the Rams than she does. So those are the top two needs, edge and DT.
It's really
I'm trying to think about
depth.
depth. I'm trying to think about depth. I would probably go edge. Show me the edge rankings of who's left because they're still.
Well, it's their.
I mean,
we're odds.
No, it's not.
Shit,
Yeah, you're odds. Yeah,
it's ours.
I was thinking they were picking.
God, everybody's still there.
So
Nobody's
it's
been
really
picked.
between. Do you want to go with the polish of Latu right off and have him contribute, or you want the potential of Turner with just all those gifts and needing some more polish, but lots of things you can't teach? So
I lean Dallas personally.
Okay. I'm fine with either. This is not going to be like our wide receiver discussion where we fight. This is going to be like, hey, either one's
All
cool.
right, so what 5-way trade can we cook up on this?
Now,
To get around this.
I don't know. Wait till the second round, then we pull out the 4-way trades. Yeah, no, I'm fine with Dallas there for the Rams. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
If you put any of those edges next to Kobe, stuff dies.
Oh.
So I'm fine with any of them, but
I'm also fine with defensive tackle depth later in this draft that the Rams can go back to. I feel better about defensive tackle depth farther on down than I do about edge depth. So if you want premium edge talent, you go edge first, get a DT later. I think there's lots of options there that I like.
Dallas, it is.
Dallas at 19. Connor Wupp with the Steelers at 20. Noted CB1 Cooper DeJean is still here.
Two players on my mind right now for this pick is him and Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah. God,
I'd probably lean DeJean because I still think they'll be fine getting a wide receiver on day 2.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And think about like just the amount of roles DeJean could play for the back end of this defense is perfection.
Be pretty sick. I'm with you here. I'm taking DeJean over any of the wide receivers that are there because that wide receiver depth. So Cooper DeJean, number 20 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Y'all are back on the clock with the Dolphins at 21.
Johnny?
I've got interior offensive line. I asked our good friend with the Dolphins what his 3 top needs were prioritized. He said interior offensive line, wide receiver, and then 3 tech. So 3 tech on the list for sure. Johnny, probably the highest rated prospect. If we're saying all 3 of those needs are roughly equal,
he's gone.
He's gone. He went 8th overall.
He went 8th.
Right. So I mean,
right.
we'd be
Byron.
Byron.
I'm not used to that.
We'd be Byron if we went DT, and certainly an extremely highly rated player. But you've also got to pick a litter for, JPJ, Graham Barton. Like you could pick your center to come on because. Their center's not going to start the season healthy, so that would be rough.
I'd probably lean JPJ just because I think he could play any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like we've laid out, so it's either JPJ or Murphy, and it just comes down to 19 or 24.
He's also played DT before, so just throw him out there.
True.
Yeah,
spin him around both sides of the ball. That'd be awesome. And he'd be fine with it. He's something else. I'd be fine with that.
Powers Johnson.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. JPJ off the board at number 21. Eagles are on the clock at 22. Terry and Arnold.
Probably Arnold.
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing this as like putting our boards as consensus together. So Arnold, as much as I'm a little higher on Wiggins.
I like Wiggins a lot, man. I'm just worried about the tackling.
Yeah, the weight overall, the play strength.
I'm just really worried about it.
We'll go Arnold here, and it's very fitting for the Eagles.
Yeah, so, okay. You're right. The Alabama connection, the Howie Roseman Alabama connection.
Yeah.
Is
an SEC corner on this team?
Right,
wow.
right.
Whoa.
Oh, shocking. Wow. No way.
So weird.
They'd take Kool-Aid if Tyrion was off the board. So, all right, Arnold, 22. Y'all are up at 23. We got to pick it up if we're going to finish round 1. Don't think we're going to have time for a second round, obviously, because of all the trade talk that we did to keep the time. But we'll talk about that at the end of the pod. So, okay, you guys are up at 23 though. We got to high step it here.
All right. We can make Chargers fans very happy with either BTJ or AD Mitchell here. And we're coming out of this with a tackle and a receiver.
I'm all about Thomas here, and I could pick a corner too, but I really like the Brian Thomas fit with. It's tough with Roman being there. I mean, I just love him with Herbert. Like, I want to see that connection occur. I just don't know how often I'm going to get to in that offense.
For Roman Wilson, you're saying?
For Greg Roman.
No, for Greg Roman,
goodness.
not Roman.
When you said Roman, I was like,
no,
you could pick
Greg
Wilson
Roman
at 23?
Like, he's such a wet blanket for me on like all these really fun wide receiver picks that can go to Los Angeles because he uses one and a tight end. Now maybe he's changed, but it's hard for me to imagine that. Again, what would I do? Brian Thomas Jr. right here and be happy.
All right.
Yeah,
it sounds like Brett was good with that.
Yeah. Again, it's even if I have 80 like graded slightly higher, we're talking about the same neighborhood, couple houses down the street, right? So BTJ works.
All right, Brian Thomas Jr., the incredible vertical ability, getting to pair with Justin Herbert's cannon of an arm, which you love that. Cowboys at 24. Man, could they pick a Latu? Or
I was kind of wondering, like,
is it just as easy as Graham Barton?
You just go total beast mode on the pass rush.
Because how old is DeMarcus Lawrence? He's 31.
Sam Williams on the roster behind him.
Yeah, but Sam Williams.
I know it's not going to stop you from taking a round one edge.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, it looks like there's another year for Lawrence, but it might be a void year. Hold, please. Yeah. So 2025 is a void year for him. So
Latu and Verse are really nice value in this spot.
I know, man.
Yeah,
I'd go Latu.
Okay.
I'd go with Latu.
It'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun throwing him into this pass rush rotation.
Because kind of like the talk.
A lot too fun. Nailed it.
Thanks. I hate it.
Thanks. I want to leave.
That you guys were having before. You like edge rusher value here more than waiting for a potential edge addition. I guess you maybe wouldn't be making one later in the draft, but I just think Latu's a better player than Graham Barton. Draft ain't about pigeonholing yourself. It's about picking good players. I'm going Latu for Dallas at 24.
All right.
Yeah, and there's center depth later. There's a lot of that's one of the sneakier positions in this draft. Started off thinking that it was going to be really thin. The more I got into it, the more I started digging. I was like, no, there's 5. No, there's 6. No, there might be 7.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So
y'all are up with Packers at 25.
Hey, just to keep things going, we could just forfeit the pick. I'm just saying.
He gets it.
EJ, let's be realistic. There's a Midwestern DB that runs 4.43 in this class. We know what team Cooper DeJean's going to.
He's off the board.
When did you take DeJean?
Steelers at 20.
The Steelers at 20.
They were,
I didn't know.
Yeah, you got to pay attention, man. You do. You got to pay attention.
This would have been very easy for them. You're right.
It could have matched up very nicely. But the weird thing about, and this is why I love doing these exercises, so thank you for having us on, is that you get to go through all the teams and really kind of sort it down. And like Green Bay's needs are really odd. If you're ordering them, like in terms of priority, it's like safety, inside linebacker,
right,
like backup tackle.
Not a lot of premium positions.
So what do you do up high? Like, I don't know, maybe they decide they want to trade the pick because they can get all those positions further on down. But if you just sticking and picking in terms of like value, which, Green Bay's done a decent job of, certainly, like there's been this serious run on tackles. I don't think you're picking a safety or an inside linebacker in the first round. So what are you doing here?
This is what I get for looking at over the cap information while they were picking for the Steelers. This cripples me because I had Cooper basically penciled for them.
Yeah, this is what happens in the draft. Tear the notes up.
Whatever it's worth, Packers fans love Graham Barton.
And of course they would. A guy that's like
It makes sense.
completely multiple on the offensive line,
yes.
a great athlete. Like, yeah, sure.
For the sake of just drafting good players, it's like, hey, let's hit a double in the gap and sleep well at night. Let's do Grant Barton. EJ, are you amenable to that?
Fits a profile for sure, and a good one they've had success with. I hate it because they always have a bunch of guys on the offensive line. And it's like, oh, this guy went down. It's like, oh, Packers can do that. Not other teams can't do that. Oh, we'll just pick him from over here. We'll put him over here. He'll play great. Like, that's not real life, but the Packers have that all the time. So they'll be thrilled. He'll fit anywhere, literally. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Connor, we have a wild luxury here with the Jags.
I know.
Because they trade for T. Higgins. They get 26, so they get out of having to pay Josh Allen a lot of money. And Jared Verse is still on the board.
Kind of writes itself.
Ding,
right?
ding, 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 ding.
I mean, this truly couldn't have worked out better if you like Verse, and I like Verse a lot more than picking him 26th overall.
The other thing is he goes from Florida State to Jacksonville.
Which on this podcast, we call low moving costs, baby.
Let's sell some jerseys. Let's go. Oh,
Jared Verse to
Verse,
the Jags at 26. What a wild ride that was for them. Y'all are up with the Cardinals.
Can I just ask you a question, though?
Yes.
If you were the Bucks with the 26th pick, would you have rather had Jared Verse instead of spending it on Josh Allen?
Pretty dangerous trail to walk, though. Like, hey, I'm going to hang out till 26 and Verse will still be there.
Probably, right? Yeah. But like, again, like I just like that part of it's not realistic to me. I know we went through it like, oh, we're picking, who we would pick, all this kinds of stuff. Sure. And I think in reality, it's like, yeah, would you rather take Verse at 26 with a 5th-year option on a rookie contract the whole time? Yeah, probably. But it doesn't diminish what Josh Allen would be as a solidified, expected, very impact pass rusher for them. So, yeah, I'd rather take Verse at 26, to be honest with you, but it's tough to live in hindsight when you make moves like that. So, anyways, Cardinals are up at 27.
All right, Cardinals. Our pick at 4 was Marv. Did we?
Marv, indeed.
We picked Marv at 4. Okay, so you've got edge, and I think the edge. We just hit the ledge.
Tapped now.
Yeah, we just hit the ledge at edge. So corners next on their hierarchy of needs. And, we got a couple of really good corners here. I would pick Kool-Aid if I pick between Kool-Aid and Nate Wiggins. But
over Byron Murphy?
Again, I reached out to folks with the Cardinals and said, hey, how would you stack your needs? And interior offensive line, although Murphy is a tremendous value, that might just be hey, throw out the rest of this. We need a really good player, and Murphy's that for us. But again, I actually like the depth at defensive tackle down the board. Are you getting Murphy? No, you're not. But can you get some semblance of Murphy in the 3rd or even in the 4th? You can, right? Depending on which qualities you're looking for out of this. There's some sneaky depth in this defensive tackle class, whereas top flight corners, I like the corner depth as well, but come on.
Not as much.
Not as much. So I would pick Kool-Aid here if it was me.
I would too.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Kool-Aid McKinstry at 27. Connor, we're up at 28. God, with Byron here, it's a little bit of a conversation just because he's so damn good. But
yeah,
who's playing wide receiver?
That's kind of where the issue
lies. For this team?
And then there's a big debate, right? Because I like Troy Franklin better than Mitchell.
Oh,
so you're just kind of opening a door here.
Okay, you just got your thumbnail, which is Brett's reaction to that particular take.
Yeah, but I feel like if we're being realistic, Mitchell will be a first rounder, and he falls.
You know, I like Mitchell a lot, so us picking Mitchell here, wouldn't necessarily.
That's fine. I mean, listen, they need a big-bodied outside receiver that can win down the field. Like
they do indeed.
Let's not get around this. And
they do indeed. I think
I like Murphy. I'm not like sitting here like, oh my God, how can I pass on Byron Murphy?
All right.
So I'm comfortable if you want to just take the receiver here.
All right, let's do it. 80
'Cause it's
Mitchell at
logical.
28. That puts y'all up at 29, who I don't know if Byron Murphy goes here either, to be honest with you.
It'd be fun, but
Yeah,
we got other
need wise,
stuff.
I don't see it.
Right.
This is where board value and need are not necessarily aligned, and they're sitting around going, "Hey, we didn't think that Byron Murphy would be here at the end of the first round. Do we just take him
Right.
on value?" My
Right.
other thing is, does Nate Wiggins fit on a Dan Campbell team? Like he's
No.
got
I don't
No.
think so.
No.
physically, he doesn't. Like mentally, I think he tries to play like that. I really do. I'm not like questioning
I
his
agree.
effort,
He
but
can't tackle.
I don't think they're gonna have a great grade on him. A good grade, sure, but a great grade. So do they go with Murphy or what else they have for needs? Again, interior offensive line, just to future proof themselves. They got a couple of very old starters on the inside of their offensive line, or edge. But again, we already hit our ledge at edge. So I don't know. This one's
I'm personally between a few different guys, and
Okay,
you
go
tell
for
me how
sure, go for it.
This is. I'm between Xavier Leggett, Kyrie Jackson.
You love Leggett.
I do love Leggett. It's either Leggett, Kyrie Jackson, or just saying God has given us a gift. Byron Murphy, you are a Detroit Lion.
I'm actually not sad with any of those players as fits for this team. Murphy, just on value alone, I think they could use him and he's good. Certainly the highest rated player out of these three that we're talking about. Leggett, the same way. I think he would fit the mentality of this team and give them something they need. And I love the Kyrie Jackson fit at corner because of how he's built and how he plays. Like those two things don't always line up with the player. With Jackson, it does. He is a big, long, smothering physical guy. And that I'm sure Dan Campbell would love that. So I'm not going to be sad. If we're going on pure value, it is in that order. It's Murphy, Leggett, Jackson, just on stacking your board. And then you just sprinkle positional value on it and do what you want.
Why don't we go with Leggett then, just because they're about to spend a lot of money at the receiver position, and I think they just need more cheap guys to balance out the truckload that Amon-Ra is going to get. Modern day alum, by the way. What's up?
And there's some guys in the corner ranks who also can be Kyrie Jackson by proxy in the third round.
Yeah.
All right. So Leggett at 29.
Jackson by proxy. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Leggett at 29. So we're up with the Ravens at 30. God. Byron Murphy.
I know you want to do it. I know you want to do it.
Ravens, though? I mean, think about it. Like,
this
is so
Ravens. I know, but they just paid Justin Madubuike.
Have two of them. Have two of them. Put them up
every year. They do this every single year, and at the end of the draft, we go, "How did they get him?" We're going to say, "How
Michael
did
Pierce
Baltimore
is 31,
get Byron?"
Brent Urban is 32.
It
They
doesn't
have
matter.
Travis Jones, but like I think they'd take Byron Murphy.
I think Eric DeCosta takes one look at this board and goes, "Well, they gave it to us again. We might as well take it."
Yeah, they're full BPA.
Yeah.
Like he's just too good for us to not.
Like we're
take
going
him
to pick
here.
up the dollars we find on the ground. Like they
All
always
right,
do it
all right.
every year.
We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Byron
Murphy at
Murphy,
30.
you are a Baltimore Raven. Last pick for you guys, 31, San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, man.
Needs wise, I've got OT, corner, and then wide receiver. So wide receiver is more about future proofing because you know at some point you're going to lose.
I mean, OT kind of is too, because Trent, I don't know how many more years Trent has in him, right?
Right. And do you love McKivitz at right tackle? Like, ugh.
Can I interest you in a Kingsley Suamataia?
Could do a lot worse. Hang out.
You like
Learn
him
from
over
Trent
Guyton?
for as long as he stays. Yeah, Guyton or Sumatai, either way. Even Jordan Morgan, I'd be okay with. Like, I would say if I had to order those three, boy, I like the idea of Kingsley hanging out with Trent. Just like,
I like the idea of Tyler Guyton too. Like it's the same thing.
I mean, yeah,
how
exactly.
competitive those dudes are.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Competitive and super athletic. Like, I don't know that I don't think there's a loss there. So,
on
one of
tools,
those
I'd probably lean Guyton.
Okay.
And just trust him to get the most out of him long term.
All right. I'm fine with
Guyton?
it. Yep. Guyton it is.
32, Connor.
Final
What are we
pick.
doing?
I mean, could go wide receiver here. There's plenty of good ones. You're kind
Yeah.
of kicking off in a way the second round wide receiver run, just doing it with the last pick of the first. I would, if I was the Chiefs in this spot, right? Mitchell's gone. Brian Thomas is gone. If you want a big outside, you want it not big because he's not big, but a tall outside guy with speed, I go Franklin. If I want like a glass chewing, I'm going to catch everything in the middle of the field, I would go with Polk or Pearsall or McConkey. So it's a matter of like what kind of receiver you want if you don't want to take a tackle. Because I also like Jordan Morgan in this spot.
I think they might like Jordan Morgan
And
too.
it's weird that how little it's discussed like nationwide because we talk about receiver for this team so much.
Yeah.
When you look at this offensive line on paper,
Yeah.
at tackle, not interior. At tackle, you're like, ugh.
Left tackle for sure is my second biggest need for them right after wide receiver. So
I think I'd probably take Jordan Morgan then.
I would too, because it goes back to the combo of what can I get now versus what I can get later.
All right. I agree with you. I agree with that thought process. And again, you can get wide receiver at any time. So
how many tackles went in that first round?
boy,
Yeah.
a lot. How many did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's
We
what
got
I would.
8 tackles.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's gonna happen.
Boy.
Like people should get ready. It's gonna happen. If you get down to it, people are gonna be looking at wide receiver depth, and as much of a boon as that is, people are gonna use that to say, hey, I'll do that later. If I don't get and it doesn't matter what it is right now. If I don't get an edge, if I don't get a tackle, if I don't get a whatever, I'm not gonna get them later on. But wide receiver, I still have Pearsall and all the guys we were just talking about, plus the depth later on down. People are going to hang and edges are going to go to a point, then they're going to stop. And the tackles are going to go to a point, they're going to stop, and then people are going to pick it up with filling in with what is a great wide receiver class in the middle part of the draft.
There's no doubt about it. There's a ton of good wide receivers through so many different rounds of this NFL draft. All right, I know that we said at the top of the show that it was going to be a 2-round mock draft, but we went on an absolute journey with these fellas, and I knew that we would when it came to the discussions of teams and trades and all that kinds of stuff. We were having too much fun. We didn't want to speed that up and be disingenuous in this way, so we're giving you a first-round mock draft. I'm just saying this, no obligation, but we'll talk to these guys. Hey, maybe we'll fire this back up and give you guys a part 2 at some point if we feel like the schedules can line up. And if you guys want it, let us know in the comment section. Let us know about all the conversations that we had, all the picks, anything that stood out to you. Best way to do that, youtube.com/@NFL Stock Exchange. You can hit myself and Connor up on Twitter and Instagram as well, @Tampa Bay Trey, @Connor J. Rogers. Please go follow these guys and all the incredible content that they do on all the social media platforms, but especially the Bootleg Football YouTube channel. They have phenomenal videos that it's not just the cookie cutter way to cover the NFL draft. And you guys listen to this over the last hour and a half, you can hear that from these dudes. But whether it's the draft gems on offense and defensive side of the ball, or like they were saying, like holding their rankings from one another until a week before the draft. I mean, like that's stuff that's so much fun to follow a channel that has this kind of knowledge, this kind of entertainment, loves to connect with their fans the way that they do. These guys are two of the best. Brett, EJ, we cannot thank you enough for joining us once again this year. This was a ton of fun, fellas. Thank you so much.
I mean, first of all, thank you for having us on again. Second of all, I just want to say sports media is a very tough business. There's a lot of people that have unfortunately lost their gigs over the last few months. And I tell this to people all the time, building something yourself is the most important thing you can do to work and survive in this business. You guys have done that. Over 25,000 subscribers on this channel right now. You guys are building a fucking juggernaut. I could not be prouder and happier for you guys. You're two of the best in the business, not just in terms of what you do, but the people that you guys are. I am so happy that you guys are building this thing. It couldn't happen to two better people. And, I consider it a privilege that we get invited on here, and I know EJ does too. And I hope to come back.
Yeah. On vibes alone, you guys are crushing it. Not to mention all the metrics, they're there as well. And I think those come secondarily. They follow what you guys have made for feel. And it's luckily, knowing you both in person, it's the same thing you get. Like there isn't a difference. Some people you turn on a camera and things change. Not with you guys. We have these same conversations when we meet each other in, quarters, the combine or whatever else, or over a beer. And I love being able to share that. And, we will always make time for this. It's a privilege and we enjoy the hell out of it.
Well, guys,
you guys are the best.
Kind words.
Yeah,
truly.
You guys are the best. Really,
truly.
We really appreciate it.
Means a lot. This is one of our favorite episodes that we do every single year. Like we said, maybe this is a part 1, but whatever it is, it was an incredible first round that we got to do with you guys. We would love to hear from y'all who are watching and listening. Like, please let us know what you thought of the episode, everything. Let us know in the comments section. For Brett and EJ, I'm Trevor. That is Connor. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. We'll see you later this week.